Yo. Welcome into the ChrisBeCappinn Show, man. Today is July 1st, new month. Hopefully, new money, man. Only one game in the W for today, which is the Commissioner's Cup game. We'll go through it. A lot of the betting value, in my opinion, feel like it's kind of sucked out of it. But we'll see what happens based on the injury report. So no further ado, let's just jump into it. It should be a relatively short show for today. Yesterday, we didn't have any WNBA, of course, on Monday. But on Sunday, we had 5 games, and I did pretty well. I stayed off the Seattle first half. Thank God I did. Phoenix was the only loser. They wet the bed against the Aces. Aces come out, play with their heads on fire. Defensively, they're very active. So it sucks because that was the biggest bet, right? Phoenix -6 was the 2-unit play, and the rest of these were 1-unit plays or half-unit plays on Angel Reese. So on her rebound prop, but Chicago and Los Angeles does go up and over the total, even though it took a while. Atlanta won the game outright. I didn't think the Liberty would look that bad, but Atlanta looked great in the bounce back spot off 2 straight losses, and then Angel Reese to get those boards against the Sparks in front of her. Her idol growing up, Candace Parker, on her jersey retirement day. So 4-1 day, but we still only finish up a little bit over a unit for the full season. We are now back up over. In the profit, and hopefully we can stay that way, man. It feels like I've been back and forth for sure, but yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see. Back to the morning shows though. Gina ain't here with me this morning. She says, "Good morning, Chris and chat. We're 1-3 on Sunday. Cashed Atlanta plus 3.5. Lost Kelsey Plum over 2.5 threes. Phoenix -6.5, and Seattle first half -2.5. Let's make some cash today. Money making Tuesdays, absolutely." Jason says 8 a.m. early bird gets the worm. Jumped on Lynx -5.5 yesterday morning. Yeah, the early bird for this game, Jason, especially in the standalone game, is not just it's not early at all. It's not early at all to talk about these games when these lines have been out for I think about a week and a half, 2 weeks now. Brian says, "Good morning, Chris. Indiana first half. If Caitlin Clark plays, if not, Lynx -5.5. Golden State first half was a good call Saturday. Let's find, I think you mean Sunday. Let's find some winners." What up, Helms? Appreciate you for tapping in. Says he grabbed Lynx -4.5. When saw the video of Caitlin Clark shooting around, that groin didn't look good. I saw this as well. I did see this. Chad says he got in on Lynx -5.5, Mercury -5.5, Mystics plus 14.5 for is that Friday's games? I think that's Friday. No, Thursday's game. Thursday's games. Yeah, I'm getting my days of the week off. Yeah, no, that's a fact. It is. It's at that frustrating time of the year though, where I feel like I should be more profitable than I am, though, Chad. So we'll see. A couple times I leave things off the board. Let's jump into it for today. So we'll go with jaXon first. jaXon is an AI sports betting assistant tool, whatever you want to call it. 2 looks for today. I asked jaXon what are the 2 best player props for the Commissioner's Cup game today. I want an over and an under. jaXon tells me that it likes Kelsey Mitchell over her 2.5 3-point makes at plus 140 on FanDuel. So a juicy little Kelsey Mitchell prop here. Says Kelsey Mitchell has been on fire from beyond the arc, hitting 3+ threes in 5 of her last 7 games, including 4 consecutive games with 20+ points. Opponent matchup, the Minnesota Lynx ranked 9th in defensive rebounding and allow opponents to shoot 29% from the 3-point line. That's not good. It says we're just middle of the pack. This provides Mitchell with opportunities to capitalize on her shooting. Without Caitlin Clark, Mitchell has shown she can carry the offensive load when Clark is sidelined, maintaining her scoring efficiency and volume and embedding value. At plus 140, this prop offers excellent value given that Mitchell's recent form and the Fever's reliance on her shooting. So Kelsey Mitchell up and over 2.5 3-point makes. And then last but not least, Caitlin Clark under 18.5 points. So we'll talk about Caitlin Clark specifically, but the first thing that's mentioned here in the analysis is the injury concern. So she's listed as questionable with the groin injury. She's missed the last 2 games. Even if she plays, her minutes and effectiveness are likely to be limited, is what jaXon says. Recent form in her last 5 games, she's averaging 17.6, staying under this line in 3 of those contests. Her shooting has been inconsistent, hitting just 38.9% from the field in her last 10 games. And then you have the Lynx defense, right? The Lynx boast the league's best defensive rating, allows 74.1 points per game, making them a tough matchup for Caitlin Clark, especially if she's not at full strength. And with Caitlin Clark's injury status and Minnesota's elite defense, the under is a strong play. So Caitlin Clark under 18.5 points. Kelsey Mitchell over 2.5 3-point makes is what jaXon likes in this game. As always, there is a link in the description of the video, or you can just use code ChrisBeCappinn when you go over to jaXon. There's 50% off if you want to check this out for MLB or soccer or whatever it is that WNBA, whatever it is that you want to look for. Let's go over to the game. So only one game, like I said, on the board for today. To me, it kind of feels like if you waited around. So if you watched the video on Sunday, if you watched the video I did on Sunday, I said that I didn't think Caitlin Clark was going to play in this game, and if she did come back, she would, be a little ineffective. Not just because it'll be her first game back. Which Caitlin Clark has come back, right? She came back against the Liberty at home after not playing in a couple games and absolutely dominated the Liberty. I think they scored 102 points in that game, beat the Liberty 102 to 88, I think it was. This is a little bit different, though. That Liberty defense is not as effective on the road. This is the Fever on the road where their offense has been not as great. So my thought process here was either the books want all the money to be on Minnesota, which means that if you're taking Minnesota now, then you're a little late to the party, because this line did open at 4.5, and we talked about liking the 4.5 on Sunday. Told you guys I just wanted to make sure nobody got hurt, which Carly Samuelson did get hurt, right? She is on the injury, she's out for this game. And then Caitlin Clark, I think on the Indiana side, is the only person that's on the injury report for the Indiana Fever. So it feels like the books, either wants all the money on Minnesota, and then Caitlin Clark will be ruled in, and then they'll try to get some kind of balance. But yeah, I mean, this line is up to 7 on most books, and I mean, it's difficult for me to want to look outside of that 7. I think Minnesota, I expect to be a very, very public home favorite in this spot, given that they have the best record in the W at 14-2. They're the best net rating team. You can see that on the screen here as well. They're number 1 in net rating at plus 14. Even more so at home, they're plus 20.6 in net rating. Offensively, they have the highest effective field goal percentage, so this is the best offensive team. They have the number 1 defensive rating as well at home, and they allow the fewest points. I think jaXon said it was like 74. They also have covered 5 straight games at the crib, winning all of them by 14 points or more. So it's difficult for me to want to jump out here and say, you know what, I want to take the Indiana Fever on the road. Indy hasn't necessarily been like terrible. I want to make sure people understand that as well. Matter of fact, I think they're like a -1 on the road, but they've shown a significant drop off playing away from Gainbridge Fieldhouse, specifically on the offensive end, right? If you look at their offensive rating, they have an offensive rating of 110 when they're playing at home games, which is the second best in the W, and on the road, 101.3, which is 5th. So their offense doesn't play as well. We know Minnesota's going to be locked in defensively, and they also, the other thing with the Indiana Fever, they turn the ball over significantly. On the road, I think they turn the ball over at that 5th highest rate on the road specifically, and that's with Caitlin Clark in the games, right? So even if she plays, Caitlin Clark has been a turnover magnet, and her 3-point shot hasn't been falling in her most recent games. So, yeah, I mean, it's difficult for me to want to look outside of Indiana, outside of Minnesota in this spot. And I get it. It's going to be some contrarian people want to come in and take the Fever. I get it. But the Lynx are on a revenge tour. They won the Commissioner's Cup last season. I think that they're, they want everything that they feel like they should have had last year. And that includes a championship and, leaving no money or, no opportunity open for anybody else to win anything. So I think we see a fired up Lynx team in this game. I think they absolutely smoke the Indiana Fever if Caitlin Clark doesn't play. But if Caitlin Clark does play, I still think that they win and get the job done. I also wanted to add this. So this is also courtesy of jaXon here. I just looked this up and I screenshotted it and added it here. This was the simple prompt of, I think I asked jaXon let me just go back up to it real quick. I asked jaXon, do you have splits for the Indiana Fever with and without Caitlin Clark this season? And this is what jaXon gave me. It says Caitlin Clark has been a pivotal player for the Indiana Fever this season, but injuries have caused her to miss significant time. Below is a detailed breakdown of the Fever's performance with and without Caitlin Clark based on available data. So you can see in these numbers, right, with Caitlin Clark, they're 5-4. Without her, they're 3-4. Points per game, you can see that they average 4 fewer points per game without Caitlin Clark. Their assists go down about 4 per game as well, 3.5. They turn the ball over a little bit less because Caitlin Clark, like I said, is a turnover magnet. Their field goal percentage goes down. Their 3-point percentage actually goes up. And then their defense also struggles as well without Caitlin Clark. So these are some numbers and, some different ways to kind of, use jaXon as well outside of just, asking it for picks can help you with your analysis as well. So we'll go take a quick trip over and then I'll go through the comments real quick and we'll jump off of here. But it was a couple player props I was looking at for this game as well. If we just see, we go over to Outlier here, minimize me. So a couple I was looking at, right? First one I wrote on the list was actually Napheesa Collier. She is listed at, I wasn't even looking at her points. I know a lot of people probably gonna like her points. I think it's correlated. But this Minnesota Lynx team is so good offensively that it might not have to be Napheesa Collier. You can see here she has absolutely gone crazy since she's come back from injury, right? Over in 5 of her last 6 games. But I was specifically looking at her rebounds prop, and I was looking at the under. It's up to 9.5 now. You can see that she has not grabbed 10 boards. The reason why I like it is because even though I'm expecting, to be a lot of missed shots in this game, the Indiana Fever are actually the best rebounding team in the WNBA. I highlighted it right here, but they give up the fewest rebounds per game of any team. Napheesa Collier has not grabbed 10 boards since June the 8th. So it's been about 3 weeks since Napheesa Collier has grabbed 10 boards. And I think looking at, when I was going through the numbers last night, when I was looking at Napheesa Collier, rebounds specifically against the better rebounding teams, against top 5 rebounding teams, she has gone under, I think, let's see, in 5 of her 6 games so far this season. She's averaging right about 7.2 rebounds. And plus she only averages 8.5 rebounds. So getting this at 9.5, I think is a little bit of a steal. I want Napheesa Collier under 9.5 boards. I think that's a good look. It was -120 on Bet365 last night. Maybe those odds have changed a little bit. The next player prop I want to look at real quick is her teammate, and that is Courtney Williams. Courtney Williams also under on her 4.5 rebounds is what I was looking at as well. So if we go over to Courtney Williams, we look at rebounds. She has had back-to-back, 2 good rebounding games in her, you could say, last 9 games, right? So she's only gone over in 2 of the last 9 games. And these games came against the Mystics are actually a really good rebounding team, but this game finished 68-64. So there's a lot of rebound chances in this game. And they absolutely smoked the Connecticut Sun. Connecticut couldn't score. So that was the reason why I think she ended up with 9 boards in this game. But also same ideal, right? This is a guard. This is not, it's a pretty good rebounding team on the other side with or without Caitlin Clark. Like I mentioned, the Indiana Fever give up the fewest rebounds in general on the season. And then the other thing I was looking at was also when Courtney Williams is going up against a team that's a pretty good rebounding team. So against, top 5 rebounding teams this season, Courtney Williams is actually under 4.5 rebounds in 5 of those 8 games. She's averaging right at 4.1. This line being at 4.5, I think, is also another pivot towards an under. And then the other player I was looking at, so those are 2 player props. The other player I was looking at on the other side was actually Kelsey Mitchell. And Kelsey Mitchell is a to be determined, right? We got to figure out if Caitlin Clark is going to play or not. But I saw Kelsey Mitchell at 19.5, and I disagree with jaXon. I think she goes under. She has gone over, and specifically on her points prop, right? jaXon liked her over her 2.5 3-point makes. This Minnesota team, we talked about it 2 games ago when they were playing against the Atlanta Dream in Atlanta, right? It was Ryan Howard who was the 3-point shooter who takes a lot of volume from the 3-point line, and she shot, I think, 2 for 10. or 1 for 10 or 1 for 7 or something like that. I don't think Minnesota's going to allow this team to shoot a bunch of threes, man. I really, really don't. So I would disagree with jaXon. But I think, like I said, you have to put this on your, just put this in the best slip. Don't play it yet, because you kind of need to figure out what's going to happen with Caitlin Clark, in my opinion here. So Kelsey Mitchell, I like her under her 19.5 points. She has gone over in 4 straight games. She's absolutely been killing it, right? She's going to be out there for a ton of minutes, 34, 33, 32, 33. But I think it's a pretty tough matchup for Kelsey Mitchell in this spot, given that if Caitlin Clark doesn't play, right? So the handicap if Caitlin Clark doesn't play is that that Kelsey Mitchell's going to be the one with the ball in her hands. So I could see them trapping her a lot, making people like Alexi Hall have to step up. I think Natasha Howard could find some success in the post in this game. I would go Kelsey Mitchell under her points prop, thinking that, that Cheryl Reeves has a game plan that's going to slow down, Kelsey Mitchell specifically if Caitlin Clark does not play in this game. So that's my thought process. The 19.5 now is still minus 135 on Bet365. Everywhere else has it about 18.5 minus 130 as well. So I like Kelsey Mitchell under her points prop in this game. Most of the books have her 18.5 over at plus money. So that's my thought process on the 3-player props that I was looking at. I think they make it tough on Kelsey Mitchell. I forgot to mention this, but Kelsey Mitchell is somebody who gets a lot of her points as the pick and roll ball handler. This Minnesota Lynx defense is number 2 as far as opponent defense against the pick and roll. They trap the ball handler a lot. They're not going to let Kelsey Mitchell, in my opinion, do a lot of the damage. And then also she shoots a lot of threes as well, right? She gets a lot of her points from the above the break 3, and I don't think that she's going to be able to score from the above the break 3 that efficiently in this game. Maybe she makes a couple, but I don't think it's going to be that efficient. Number 2 are the Minnesota Lynx in pick and roll ball handler defense, and then number 1 in above the break 3-point defense. And then she also gets 20% of her points in transition, which is another place that Minnesota ranks number 1. So I think it's going to be really, really difficult for them to score the basketball. I guess all of that kind of leads me towards a team total under bet. The problem and the reason why I didn't play team total under is, for one, I need to see if Caitlin Clark is going to play. If Caitlin Clark plays, you get a line that probably goes back up. This did open about 81.5 and it's now come all the way down to 79.5, which is why I'm not going to play it at 79.5. But when I looked this morning, the team total was 79.5. So those are the ways that I would want to play this game. As far as what I'll actually play, probably nothing at this point because the line has moved so much. But those are the only ways that I would be looking to play this game. Team total under. Matter of fact, let's get into a quick recap. Let's go through the comments real quick. Then I'll get into a quick recap. See what you guys are thinking. Where did I stop at? I know I talked a lot. Michael says over in Boston under her 3.5 assists. Minnesota money line. That's super juice. So I doubt she'll play tonight. What's up, Nayeli? Hope all is well. She says I'm on the under in this game. The under makes a lot of sense. I don't think that the Minnesota Lynx will need to score 87 points to win this game. Now, granted, they can, but the Fever defense hasn't been that bad. If anything, the Fever's defense has actually been okay on the road. They just haven't showed up specifically offensively. And I think, Lynx only give up 74 points a game. Best defense in the WNBA. And I think I put the pace numbers in here as well, right? Let's see. I didn't mention them, but you see the pace right there, right? Fever's 6th in pace. If the Minnesota Lynx control this game, it'll be played at a snail's pace. 13th in pace. I mean, it's only 13 teams for people who don't watch the W, right? So I could see I would only bet under as well, but the total has come down. It's open 167 and it's down to 165 now. So I don't really like that as much. And like I said, that Fever team total was 79.5 as well. What up, Justin? Hope all is well with you. Natalie says she paired it with the Lynx money line. Gina says she played Aaliyah Boston under her 3.5 assists. She's been under in 5 of her last 6 games. I like that look, but I would want confirmation about Caitlin Clark. I think they could try to use her as a facilitator a little bit in this game for sure. Dirty Rig says Minnesota is the only play for me. I agree. Helm says if Clark is out, Boston under 15.5 points. Very correlated. I agree with that. She has struggled, but I will say, Helms, if you watch Minnesota, I haven't seen Minnesota struggle specifically with feet. They struggled against the Mystics the other day, but I haven't seen them struggle defensively in quite a while outside of that game against the Atlanta Dream. I mean, Bree Jones and Brittany Griner were going to work. That was 2 games ago. They were in Atlanta. So, I mean, I think that there is a way that, I know the way that she scores traditionally is through the pick and roll, and she gets a lot of, easy shots, and Caitlin Clark just kind of puts the bread in the basket for her. But even if Caitlin Clark doesn't play, I think Aaliyah Boston will have to have a big game in this spot, because I think Kelsey Mitchell is going to be taken away. That's my thought process. Brian says Indy under 80.5. Do you think they can be held to that? I do think they can be held to that, Brian. I don't see any 80.5s left, though. All 79.5. This was 80.5, though. It's moved a little bit now. What's up, young man? Travel says, how you feel about the over? I wouldn't bet over. I would bet under, but also WNBA totals are janky in my opinion. But the way that the Lynx play, they play slow, they play defense. I think with the money that's on the line in this game for the Commissioner's Cup, I would only bet under. What's up, Mark? Appreciate you for tapping in. Yeah, I couldn't talk anybody off a live play. If the Fever come out hot, taking their team total under. Minnesota's is a well-oiled machine right now, man. Well-oiled machine. Minnesota money line under 166. Mark says, kicking myself for missing Lynx minus 4.5, play 5.5. Also have futures on the Lynx. I don't think anything wrong with either one of those, Mark. And this is the other thing, right? I want to make sure I say this real quick before we get into, as we conclude the show. If you like the Lynx, granted you're getting the worst of the number, I would wait to see what happens with Caitlin Clark. If Caitlin Clark gets ruled in, this line is naturally just going to come down. People will start to bet the Fever, thinking that the Fever are getting too many points, right? That's when you take Minnesota. Don't rush and take Minnesota right now, right? You need to have your alert set, though, because if Caitlin Clark doesn't play, then, of course, this line might close at 7.5, 8. And in that case, I really don't like Minnesota. I think the Fever could potentially get a backdoor cover in that estimation. So you kind of got to be quick with it. But, yeah, I mean, 2 points. Like I said, the reason why is because Minnesota's a plus 14 at the crib, plus 14 in net rating. So they don't win the games by 5 points. They win games by double digits. Specifically at home, they're plus 20.5, like I said earlier as well. So just some thoughts, man. Just some thoughts. Jordan says Fever money line, in-season champions, Minnesota finals champions. Okay. I don't agree, but okay. Chad says, Chris, any thoughts on the Storm Dream line? Moving on Storm with them having been on the road. I would think they go home on the break, which creates even more travel and make the Dream have lost only once at the crib. So I had a lot of thoughts on this game, Chad. I didn't go into it as far as like stats and stuff, but I think a couple things stand out to me. First off, I was about to tweet this out the other night. I think I trust a homeless man with my Chick-fil-A gift card if I wasn't vegan. I think I trust a homeless man with my Chick-fil-A gift card or my last cheeseburger before I trust the Storm laying points on the road. I just don't. Man, the way I saw the Valkyries, and you called it on Sunday. The way I saw the Valkyries absolutely take their food, man, I don't want anything to do with the Storm right now. However, we got to remember Ryan Howard didn't return to that game on Sunday. She came back out with a sleeve on, right? So I think her arm was in a sleeve. I don't think Ryan Howard's going to play. I know it's been a while. I've been trying to find out, do some deep dive in. I couldn't really find anything. The coach didn't really say too much after the game about her injury, just that they're going to have to wait and see. But if you're in a sling on Sunday and you don't come back and finish the game, I don't think you're playing on Thursday. That's just my thought process. So I don't know, man. It's a tough game. I saw plus 2.5. I think like on some of the smaller books, like a Bally Bet, I think had a 2.5 for Seattle, but I didn't bet it. I wanted to look a little bit deeper into it. I think Ryan Howard comes out, and then you'll get a better number if you still like Atlanta, in my opinion. Here's the other thing, Chad. Seattle presents a lot of matchups. The Phoenix Mercury, the Atlanta Dream are a team that loves to live on the inside, right? Bree Jones is having a career year. I don't know if career year, but she's having a great year. Brittany Griner has, bounced back since they've given her the ball a little bit more. She's back-to-back over her points prop in back-to-back games. They're playing inside out. as of late. Seattle, if they could, actually play like they're supposed to, they could present some matchup problems. I think, NECA and having Ezzy like that, they could take away some of the stuff that Atlanta likes to do on the interior and make Atlanta try to beat them from the outside. Alicia Grace having a really good year, but they got, defenders to throw at them as well. I think if anything, Seattle offense continues to probably struggle. I probably like under, especially without Ryan Howard. I'll see what the total is. I think that's my thought process on the game without, diving too deeply into it. That's what I'll say about that. Chad says he wants to dream. I think I want the under. BC going back to this game says taking Fever under 79.5. Even if Clark is in, I still don't think that they'll pass it. I agree, but wait till she gets ruled in. You get a better number, in my opinion, BC. What's up, PZ? Appreciate you for tapping in. What's up, Ron? Says he likes the under. I do too. Let's see. Good morning, Mark. Okay, where we at? What up, JLB? Hope all is well with you. Feel like I ain't talked to you in quite a while. Nally says Storm on the road is a big no unless they bouncing back from a loss playing a bad team, and that spread better be under 2.5 for underdog. I think the spread is under 2.5 right now. Let's see. Where's that spread? Yeah, you can get Atlanta. So that line is starting to shift now. So the Storm are actually laying a 1.5. Wow. Okay. I didn't see this. I didn't put this in my notes. You can get Atlanta plus 1.5, or you can get Atlanta minus 1.5. All depending on what book you're shopping at right now. And I think that's all contingent upon the Ryan Howard news, in my opinion. So that's my thought process. What up, Meat? She says a lot of uncertainty here. Probably bet right before the tip or live, and I couldn't talk you off of that. So yeah, recap is here. Minnesota minus 6.5. The only way that I would play it. I think that they can get rid of this Indiana Fever team, but I'll wait. Like I said, I need to see what happens with Caitlin Clark. Indiana team total under 79.5. Of course, contingent upon Caitlin Clark as well. The feature call you under the 9.5 boys. Same thing for Courtney Williams under the 4.5 boys, and then I would play Kelsey Mitchell under her points prop. I think all the unders that you see here are, in my opinion, correlated with the game going under as well. I didn't bet the total though. I put a little bit on the side, but I didn't get 6.5, and I also didn't send it out because I played it as soon as I told you guys I would. As soon as the injury report, I wanted to make sure Minnesota coasted through that game and nobody, was injured. So no official plays for me here because I didn't send anything out, but I got a little bit on Minnesota already. Resources, as always, are here. Check out jaXon, Outlier, Moneyballer, OddsJam. All the referral links are in the description if you're interested in using any of these for any other sports that you handicap or, you're thinking about handicapping. And that'll be it for the show, man. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. It's the first time I've done a morning show in quite a while. And then if you're interested in the official plays that I make when I do make them, the link is in the description as always. And that'll be the show for today, man. I will catch you guys. We'll probably go live tomorrow, breaking down these games for Thursday. Enjoy the Commissioner's Cup, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Enjoy your Tuesday as well.